Have you actually read about your diagnosis? Because you should. Hi, welcome. My name is Mads. I have dyslexia and dyscalculia, and I talk about special education. I'm a special education teacher, and I want you to understand more about yourself. And what is your diagnosis? Why would you even want to know more about your diagnosis? Well, the reason is because your diagnosis is research about you, and why have they given you the diagnosis? It's important for you to know so you can understand and teach and learn about yourself, but also explain to others what you need and how you need it, so you essentially get an easier life. Now, of course, some of you may say, but I don't want to read my diagnosis paper because it's painful. Okay, well, all in time, I suppose, but I really recommend, unless there are very special situations where you shouldn't, maybe there's some abuse or something, whatever, but in cases like dyslexia, ADHD, dyscalculia, etc., really recommend understand and do research about yourself, because it says a lot about you here, and you don't need to be your diagnosis. You can use this as a tool. If you can use this to learn more about yourself and then do research of how or what aspects of you need to work on so you can get a better life, right? That's what it's all about. And one thing you could do is that you can go to the British Dyslexia Association or whatever association there is in your country and read, what do they say about my diagnosis, right? Because depending on the country, they may say different things, because dyslexia is a topic that is heavily debated and many disagree on what includes dyslexia. This is beneficial for us in a way, because we can say, oh yeah, I relate to the description or the definition that the British Dyslexia Association says about dyslexia, or the Spanish Dyslexia Association say, whatever it is. And you can start to say, like, okay, let's say, for example, that the British Dyslexia Association have 5 key points about dyslexia. There are probably more, but for the sake of argument, right? And then you only relate to 3 of them. Why focus on all of them when you have it clear? Like, yeah, I relate to these things. It's also correlates with what was found about my diagnosis in my papers. Maybe I should start to develop some techniques, some fun way to help myself compensate for these challenges, or evolve certain skills, because again, dyslexia also has certain advantages. Of course, this, depending on the people or depending on the person, is different for everyone, but it's not only negative. It can also be positive things, or beneficial things is probably a better word to use, so you can actually learn more about yourself. And that's a problem in many schools today, right? It's very negative focus because you can't achieve, or you can't do something. And that includes the workspace as well, and maybe everyday life as well. You feel like you are not good enough, or you can't achieve something. And this is, over time, built up as trauma, right? And if you start to understand, why does this happening? What do I have? Is this aspect of dyslexia, or my diagnosis, whatever it is it linked? Is that a correlation? Maybe you didn't know that problem solving or creativity is very often found in dyslexics, for example. Maybe there's a correlation. Maybe the skills you have, you're like, oh yeah, maybe I have this because of this. But then again, the more you understand these papers and how it correlates with you, and do research, like, you live in a great time, there is information everywhere about dyslexia or whatever your diagnosis is. Understanding it from different perspectives can give you a real insight of yourself. Of course, that doesn't mean that you need to be another person or even believe or act as another person, but it's research and understanding how has this individual solved or found solutions in these challenges, because people all over the place has found solutions. Some hasn't, but many has, and just listening can be very inspiring. That's why I do what I do, because I consider myself, I've solved my dyslexia. I've not gotten rid of my dyslexia, but I've found ways to compensate and make things easier for myself over time. And I know what I need, because I know how the diagnosis affects me, and I can then compensate for it, and I can go to people and say, hey, I need this so I can achieve this. Whatever it is in a workspace or school or everyday life, doesn't matter. I'm very adamant, this is what I need. I need you to read it out loud for me so I can actually understand it properly. Or I can find this, or I use this program that read it for me so I can better understand it, right? It's your responsibility. But it starts with you being curious about yourself. And many of you are terrified of this. Many of you are terrified of dyslexia or ADHD, whatever it is you have, because you feel like, oh, I am dyslexia. No, you're not. You're not dyslexia. There's an aspect of you, but that's not all that you are, or all that you is. It's not all of you, is what I'm trying to say. It's an aspect of you. Unless you allow it to take over your whole life and you become this diagnosis. This is a tool. This is the tool that you can use to find out more about yourself, and it's a guide telling you, hey, you find it difficult to read. Hey, you find it difficult to concentrate. Okay, what could I find to make my life easier? Is your responsibility. Yes. You have people around you, depending how old you are, that can support you with this, but you still need to understand. And you can make two different aspects of dyslexia. One is that you understand how society perceives dyslexia, and you can be clear of what accommodations you need so you can get the support you need. Then you can have a separate dyslexia for you. Why would that be beneficial? Because this aspect is how you perceive what dyslexia is. You still need to, within the world, within the environment you are in, understand this. But this is the definition that you have of dyslexia that is beneficial to you to reach your goals, reach your dreams, do the things that you want to do, right? Because again, it is what you define it as. Yes, dyslexia, I'm first to say, it can be really horrible. It can be really, really challenging. It can be very traumatic. But it's really what we make it out to be. And if you redefine what you feel dyslexia is for yourself and still understand how the society perceives dyslexia, you can start to develop techniques to reach your dream, reach your goal. For example, I have a master in special education. I took it in England. I'm not English. I'm from Norway. I couldn't write English, but because I had developed learning techniques, I had developed a understanding of how I need and what I need in order to learn. And I knew going into this that I had an interest. I know that this topic is something that I'm willing to learn, and I am happy to read and write to do it. And I had the tools, I had the techniques ready in order to achieve this. And so can you. It took me time, it exhausted me, but I did it. I'm not saying you're going to take a master, but I want to say that with understanding yourself, you and develop techniques and be actually realistic and say, okay, well, you know what, I'm not good at writing. Okay, what do I have? The majority of my dissertation, I used dictation. I used this to speak it in. I didn't write. I was talking it instead. And then I edited it. I had programs. I had people that helped me edit it. You can do this too, but it's being realistic. But this is a challenge. What can I use to make it easier for myself? Because you can reach your dream, your want, your needs, but you need to understand yourself first. And that starts with reading these papers, understanding this. You can book a consultation with me if you need help to figure out more about yourself and where to start. I do that. You can check me out on other social media where I create videos, I make art, I make animations. You can totally check out my animated short films and use this to understand yourself more. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope that you like and subscribe. So I see you in the next video. Make sure that you learn about yourself and see you in the next video.